Hello and finally welcome to race 10 of the Sim Cup season. I'm Michael Taylor, fresh off of a bunch of files that got lost and a long break between videos. But hopefully, now that everything's back in order, I will be doing these more regularly. Here is what happened at Texas, and I'll have you know, it's not a good day for Taylor Motorsports. We did start on the pole. Dylan Fisher had his first pole of the year, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. The rest of the year sucked for him. Davis McAfee starts outside of him. And then Scott Unger, Patrick Cobb, Matthews Barros, Jim Powers, Daniel Alderson, Carl Flint, and row 5 is Michael Adkins and Ricky Brackett. Row 6, Carson Fitzpatrick and Kevin Richmond, and then Drew Tabulov and Tommy Morello. Anthony Wick and Jason Severn in row 8. Tim Bowen and Matt Sadici in row 9. Zach Dorian and Brendan Irons in row 10. And finally, Joey Wakowiak and rookie Reed Conway. The race was 334 laps at Texas, and it was a nice day. I don't know what else to say. Did lose the first 5 or 6 pictures, so these are just what I tried to replace, and it isn't exact, but it's close enough. So lap 1, Dylan Fisher and McAfee take the green, and Dylan Fisher pulled ahead going into turn 1. Fisher, he again just got out front, then stalled in front of the field. No one could pass him, and he was really slowing down the field. And when cars did get by him in this race, they would just fly off. But Dylan Fisher would lead until lap 40 at least, as you can see in this screenshot. Then lap 60, he pits from the lead, and so does everyone else. So pit stops cycle through, and Anthony Wick would take the lead. Fisher running in second. So at this point, 75 laps in, thought that maybe I'll turn my fortune around. Anthony Wick, fresh off a good performance last week at Gateway, and Dylan Fisher still running in last. Maybe he can have a great finish. Well, that you'll see what happens. Lap later, Patrick Cobb spins. He hits the wall, comes down and hits Morello, and it just kind of bottles up the cars right behind this. That would lead to a caution. Pace car comes out and collects the field back up and ruins Wick's lead. Lap 87, Drew Tabulov bounces off the back wall. He did not bring in a caution, so that set him back. He fell 2 laps down after this incident. Lap 126, Fisher begins green flag pit stops. As you can see, the leader coming around, putting him a lap down. Everything cycled through. And after that, Zach Dorian would take the lead. And a points leader, Kevin Richmond, sneaking up right behind him, probably 2 seconds behind in this picture. Lap 192, pit stops again. Fisher was the first one in and out. It was just the schedule he was on. Early pitting leads to more early pitting. But this time, while green flag pit stops are going on, Brackett spins. He has a big crash with front and back damage. This was enough to bring out the green flag, and guess whose 2 cars got caught a lap down? Yours truly. I don't want to say that my awful luck in the series really hurts how often I do recordings, but it doesn't help because my team did not rebound from this. So with the caution, Jim Powers of KMI Racing, he starts to lead again. 30 laps later, you can see this picture with 100 to go with Kevin Richmond and Zach Dorian, who were up front earlier, following right behind, and 2 lap cars, Fisher and Morello, behind them. Lap 257, Morello begins pit stops under green. And then 299 with 35 laps to go. These 3 cars pulled ahead and were just going to battle for the win. It really came down to these 3 cars because they put a gap on the field. I think Fisher actually did slow everyone down, like I was saying earlier, but these guys had to go through lap traffic. 5 laps later, Anthony Wick retires. Engine trouble. Only retirement of the day. Last place finish for Taylor Motorsports. So he again gets into the top 5 in points, then goes right back down. 19 to go. The 3 leaders are in a pack of lap cars. You can see the damage on the 5 and 2 cars that just were quiet from the beginning. Daniel Alderson and Davis McAfee. With 9 to go, hunting down Powers in the lead. Dorian takes the pit stop. He just ran out of fuel. He tried to push it, I'm sure. That's probably why the other 2 guys made it. But he was out of contention with this late pit stop. 2 to go. Jim Powers gets around Reed, Conway, and Davis McAfee for a split second. And Michael Adkins follows suit. So it became a battle between these 2 after the pit stop. But Jim Powers would hold on and win at Texas. I think his second win in the series. Last win was Atlanta, I believe, season 1. So he's starting to become a pretty good tri-oval racer. I think the only other track like that on the schedule is Charlotte. So maybe he can mount a run, get another win at Charlotte, and maybe sneak into the top positions in the standings. So that's it for the highlights. Let's get to the results. Jim Powers followed by Michael Adkins, 0.2 seconds back. Then a big gap back to Carl Flint, Carson Fitzpatrick, Brendan Irons, Tim Bowen, Scott Unger, Reed Conway, and Davis McAfee all finish on the lead lap. Like I said, the 38 and 53 found a way to get around the leaders and salvaged a lead lap position from it. Zach Dorian, he pitted. He finishes 10th in the first 1 lap down. Jason Severn, teammate of Jim Powers, rounds out the top 11. And Patrick Cobb Jr., Joey Wakowiak, Matt Sidici, all 1 lap down. Alderson, our points leader, Kevin Richmond, has another bad day. Tommy Morello, Matthews Barros, Drew Tabulov, Dylan Fisher, Ricky Brackett, and the only car out was Anthony Wick. Driver standings, Kevin Richmond has another bad day, but it only marginally affected him because all the cars that were able to make ground up on him were mid-pack in the standings. So you see Powers jumps up to 82 points behind him. Ricky Brackett, Carl Flint, Scott Unger, Joey Wakowiak, Zach Dorian round at the top 10. Anthony Wick almost 150 points back. Then Severn, Tabulov, Fitzpatrick, Cobb Jr., and Reed Conway, a group of rookies right there. Matthews Barros, Brandon Irons, former champion Matt Sidici, Tim Bowen, Tommy Morello, and 300 points back, Dylan Fisher. Just another shitty day at Taylor Motorsports. Driver standings, Dumas Racing out front, KMI, Big Stuff, Burmy, Fletcher, North Star, Revolution, Creechin, Harden. 200 points back is Irish Lads Racing and Taylor Motorsports. So that's it. Pretty fast recording. Like I said, I lost the files for the all the logos I made. The page that had the qualifying and the standings and the results. I had to recreate that all from scratch, and it just took a while, and I did not want to do it. And I'm in school, and I just had other things to do. So I'm sorry about the big wait, and I know I posted the qualifying earlier, but this weekend was pretty filled with activities, so hopefully we'll have Daytona by Sunday. I'm going to North Carolina this weekend for the NC State Florida State games, so try to get Brent to help me sim it in the next couple days, and I'll leave and do all the recordings. So I'm Michael Taylor, and thank you for watching.